Shabbat Shalom. Happy Friday, happy weekend, family, friends. Rebecca Magick, coming at you live. So I've been sharing my journal entries loosely. More so just extracting the themes of them and then just saying whatever comes through in the moment, live, on my Rebecca Magick channeling page. If you're not following yet, it is on Facebook, Rebecca Magick Channeling. You can search for it in the search bar or type into your URL bar fb.me/Rebecca Magick Channeling. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was the topic of giving and receiving. A lot of people see themselves as givers, and a lot of people are seen as givers. It's like this label, right, which is right away sort of a limiting thing, because when we say that we're givers, what about the receiving part? So that right there kind of reveals that we already have a story about ourselves by saying, oh, I'm such a giver. Or if people say, oh, she or he is such a giver. I like to say I'm a giver and receiver. And I believe it would be really beautiful and most efficient for all of our highest good if we look at each other in that way. Even if you at first don't believe that about the person, see what it feels like to say that. What does it feel like to say that about yourself or about somebody else? Oh, so-and-so is a giver and a receiver. Then we can help. In that way, it's almost like a spell where we could help each other to activate that balance within ourselves, right? Because we live in a world of polarity and we're constantly trying to find our balance within and all around us. So if our goal collectively is to manifest a more balanced reality, which I believe that's innate, that's our nature, to want to maintain, to find that balance and maintain it, right? Then what's one way that we can powerfully do that? We can shift this story that we've been telling ourselves or others, like, oh, this person is a taker, or so-and-so is a taker, or so-and-so is a giver. How about everyone is a giver and a receiver? Let's begin to tell that new story. So that right there feels like a really powerful shift. And there are many different ways that we can use our language to shift our story, our stories. But that's one of my favorite ones that I've been thinking of lately. Oh, so-and-so is a giver and a receiver. Start with yourself, of course, because you are the center of your universe. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm on your journey. So you can begin by saying to yourself, I am a giver and a receiver. This is my nature. I am a giver and a receiver. I give and receive in equality because this is in reflection of our divine nature. This is reflected in nature all around us. There is a divine balance, and I am one with that divine balance. And I reflect that in and around my being. So I don't want to tell myself that old story about myself or about anyone else that I'm a giver or a receiver. I'm both. And this can inspire us to look at many other statements we make about ourselves or others that imply an imbalance. How can we watch our words now? How can we plant that seed to become aware when we hear words that trigger us to become present, that show us, hey, we've been telling stories of our imbalance, thus manifesting it within us and all around us. And even if you haven't been, how can you shift your language to make sure that we're specifically using balancing statements, statements that are going to support a more balanced reality within and without? And so a lot of people who have considered themselves or others givers, these givers will often get to this point of feeling like they are depleted of their energy. Oh, I give and 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 I give, but I'm not receiving. I'm not getting. Where's the getting? Where is the receiving? They feel tired. They feel resentment or frustration because why am I not receiving? I'm always giving, but I'm never receiving. That's very revealing of the issue right there. If we're stopping to ask, when is it coming to me? When am I going to receive? Chances are that if we were just a little more patient, the gift, the reciprocation, was right there around the corner, just on the other side. But the goal is to get closer and closer to eliminating this asking, when am I going to receive? Because what that's really revealing is doubt. So as long as our focus is constantly on eliminating any doubts we have in ourselves, in the one, letting go of any doubts or things that are getting in the way of our receiving, that's what's really at the root of it. So the closer we can get to eliminating that doubt, the closer we can get to stopping asking that question of when am I going to receive? We have to fully give. We have to fully and wholly give our whole being to giving. We have to use all of our energy to being giving if we want to fully receive. If we fully give, we'll fully receive. But if we waste any of our energy on stopping to question, when am I going to receive? That little bit of energy, if we just put that one little puzzle piece and clicked it right in there, we'd have the whole picture of the giving. We'd be using all of our energy to fully give. We'd forget about the receiving entirely. We'd be so lost in the giving. And when that is activated in us, because that is an activation, when we're fully in that giving, we are just embodying that giving spirit. So then, in reflection, we will fully receive. Who knows the Beatles song, right? Live and let die. And in the end, the love we take is equal to the love we make, right? And this is like really a profound truth. This is a law of nature. You get what you give. But if you only give partially, you're only going to receive partially. Forget about the receiving. The receiving is in the giving. Truly, we need to lose ourselves in the giving. We need to forget about the receiving. And when we forget, ironically, is when it will find us. Because what we seek is seeking us. Another thing that I wrote about in here that I wanted to bring up is we have to remember what it is we're even wanting to receive. You know, our whys, our motivation. This is really important to consider with whatever manifestation we're desiring to produce. Whatever we're desiring to manifest, whatever we're wishing to manifest in our reality, we have to consider, why are we even wanting it? What are we going to do with it? First of all, if it's a selfish thing, it's not going to be a sustainable manifestation. Right away, we're going to want to align it with the highest good of everything as one, because A, it will come to us much faster with much more grace and ease, and B, it will be sustainable because it will be for the highest good of everything as one. Also, what happens when we consider why we want the thing? Or what happens when we consider what we will do with the thing once we receive it? When considering the science of the mind, it actually becomes clear that this way of thinking will actually bring about the manifestation of whatever it is we're wishing to receive, because when we're thinking about why we want something and what we're going to do with it, we begin to see ourselves already doing it. And that's the key, to see ourselves already doing it. Because if we always just want something, we're sending off that image into the cosmic mirror, into the universe, that we just want it. So it's going to be reflected back to us that we always just want it. We have to see ourselves already having it, right? So why is a big thing to ask ourselves. Why do I even want to receive what it is what is it that I'm wanting to receive? So what are your experiences with giving and receiving? Do you feel like you're one of those people that you've told yourself the story that you're a giver? That you're a giver? Oh, I just keep giving and giving and giving, but I'm not getting anything in return. Are you one of those people who has claimed over and over to be a giver? Have you been telling yourself this story? Are you beginning to see how maybe we can start by just calling ourselves givers and receivers, by claiming to be a giver and a receiver? Because we are both, and we have the potential to be both. Even if we're not embodying that potential fully now, that is the goal. And we know that in order to manifest something, we have to see it as having already happened. So thank for that right here, right now, and see yourself as the giver and the receiver. Don't let those thoughts in of, oh, but I am just this, but I'm more this, but I'm more that. Balance is the key in our thoughts. See yourself in that divine balance. And here we are specifically discussing giving and receiving. So see yourself as the giver first, right? If you're one of those givers, see yourself as that giver. What does it look like to give? Well, you've been doing that, so that should be really easy. That's the easy part, right? But do it. Start there. Because that will really get you into the mode of like really realistically envisioning. It will get you really into that process of envisioning. So then, once you have that and you're like, okay, I've got the giver part down, You want to create an equal amount of passion in the feeling when you see an image of yourself as a receiver. How does that look? Chances are that's going to be a lot more uncomfortable and it's going to be a little more difficult, but it will get easier if you give effort to this, if you give this your energy and your true full presence. So that feeling you felt as a giver and the images that you produce in your mind, of course, it's going to be a little easier. But the goal is to get to that level of passion on the receiving end. So how do you see yourself as a receiver? Maybe that's receiving a massage. Maybe that's receiving help around the house. Maybe help with your kids. Maybe that's more money, whatever it is. See yourself receiving the thing quite literally in your hand. Feel the massage. What will it feel like to relax? So yeah, those are the things that you can do to see yourself as both the giver and receiver. So those are really all my thoughts on the giving and receiving. Those are really my most important thoughts put into summary here now. But I'm going to take it back to the beginning of this video and I'm going to ask that maybe you just consider that, the exercise that I offered at the beginning of this video, which is a visualization and a feeling that we're projecting out into the world that we are all givers and receivers. Because even if you are not or someone is not, that potential is within them to be that balanced giver and receiver. And ultimately, this is a reality of polarity. And our goal is balance for one and all. So one exercise to start with, to manifest that balance within and all around us, is by seeing ourselves and everyone around us as a balanced receiver and a giver, receiving and giving in divine balance. Right? And then from there, we can work on really branching our consciousness out to seeing maybe other ways that we were manifesting imbalance. How can our words and how can our thoughts show us, reveal to us how we've been manifesting imbalances within and all around? What stories are you telling about yourself and about others that are just manifesting further imbalance, that are feeding that imbalance? How can we shift that? And the other thing was, instead of just, saying, oh, well, I don't have those thoughts of imbalance. Maybe you're perfect. Maybe you're just perfect in that area and you don't have these thoughts or words, in your program about imbalance. But do you have ones about balance? Because the power is in the neutralizing thought. So what words can we adopt into our program? What thoughts can we adopt into our programming to further contribute to an inner and an outer world that is more harmonious, more in balance in its polarities, in the masculine and in the feminine, in the giving and receiving? And this is multidimensional. So we can go on, and it can be fun. And there are many people out there who feel like, I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how to sit there. I can't let go of my thoughts. Well, this is one really easy way to do that. This is one really easy way to actively even meditate, to actively bring about more harmony and balance within and all around. To sit there and just think about the different words and thoughts we can integrate into our subconscious mind that contribute to an image of a balanced world, thus manifesting a balanced world. Any thoughts you have to share around this? Maybe some thoughts that are coming up for you that you realize you want to eliminate from your program? Or maybe there's some affirmations that are super helpful that you believe could help those around you. Please share that in the comments. I especially encourage video responses. The more personal, the better. I really want to hear your thoughts because together we can really shed more light on the situation. We are all pieces of the puzzle, so the more pieces we put together, the more clear the picture becomes. And that's why I'm sharing with you in hopes that you'll share too. And then we can have a collection of thoughts and perspectives all together so that whomever sees this video will have more and more material to work with. So thanks for tuning in. Rebecca Magick channeling. Ooh, channeling myself, the one self. Thanks for tuning in with me. Thanks for doing this work, this fun work, this play. Thanks for playing with me. Thanks for being a giver and a receiver and a giver and receiver and a giver, balance. Thank you for being balanced in your polarities, for being empowered in your masculine and your feminine in a way that is a reflection of our divine, harmonious nature. Thank you for knowing this about yourself. Thank you for remembering this in each moment. Thank you for integrating it so deeply into the collective subconscious mind that it is natural. Thank you for knowing that this is already so. Thank you for being that reflection of our balanced nature. Thank you for being. I appreciate you all. Have an awesome weekend, you guys. I will see you on Rebecca Magick Channeling for more readings, book suggestions, and some cool practices that I'm going to share tonight. Also, if you haven't checked it out today, there's a review up on there from a tarot reading I did yesterday, and there will be a couple more reviews going up there tomorrow, and maybe even tonight. Peace in. Shalom.